Whatever you're going to do it with the confidence of a 5-year-old in a Batman t-shirt. Welcome to Walt's Kitchen Table, where I feature captivating stories from fascinating people. Today's guest, Chris, met him years ago. Just a solid dude, and truly enjoyed listening to him geek out over Star Wars and many other things in this episode, and I know you'll enjoy it too. If you want to hear him really dive deep, he's got his own podcast called Galaxy of the Geeks, and you can get to it through the link in the show notes here. We talk about how he was a radio DJ and many other things, like how Tombstone is a gangster movie. It's not a Western. Let's get to it. People ask me all the time how you got started with this. I go, I bought a $200 thing off Amazon. I hooked the mic up to GarageBand. I just started fucking yelling in it.
Nice.
They're like, did you take a class or did you talk to somebody? I go, fuck no, dude. I go, I had a guy come over and go, yeah, this is how you record and this is how you make double tracks. And I'm like, okay, good, thanks, dude. I'll figure the rest out.
That's awesome.
But this Tascam's great, dude.
Yeah, I like that. I was looking at that. So funny enough, so when I was in college, I used to do radio. Like I was a college DJ. So when
you were the guy at night at 2 a.m?
No, I was actually, I had I went to CCM, County College of Morris, for those listening.
Okay.
And they had a closed circuit, a carrier current, not closed circuit, carrier current radio station there. So which means you can only get the station if you're on campus. If they didn't have a transmitter, it just transmitted through like the school's.
Oh, so it wasn't over the waves or anything. It was all hardwired into whatever.
Right. So if you were sitting in the parking lot, you could maybe get it, but that's really it. So it wasn't like a big FM transmitter or anything. So when I went to CCM, it was a really tiny station. I got super involved in it, and I became like the heavy metal music director. So I got to.
Real quick, you'll love this. I just interviewed a guy the other day. He's doing a documentary on a 97-year-old grandma that is a Holocaust survivor that sings thrash metal.
Oh, my God. That's amazing.
You're going to be all over that, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, and I was like, she's like, and he's like, 100%. I'm like, that's cool, dude.
I got to check that out, right away.
Yeah. It's not posted yet. I'll tag you in it when it's posted.
Definitely.
Yeah, because I was going to tag all the heavy metal people I know.
Yeah,
so.
you have to.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So you were at CCM?
Yeah, so I was at CCM. So I was the metal director, and I would get the calls from the labels, and they'd be like, oh, you got to play this, and you got to play the new Megadeth or new Alice in Chains, or you got to hit up the new Spready, whatever it was, and you'd have to write it down and do charts and things like that. But one of the guys I met through the radio station was my buddy Victor. And, Victor was another metal guy, and we met through school. And then I graduated after, we were worked together at the station. And then after the 2 years of school, we both graduated. I went to Willie P. I'm not sure if he went on or if he started working. But how most things go, it stinks. Yeah. But you just lose touch. And this is going back. I'm gonna date myself here. This is going back in 95. So there's no cell phones. There's no Facebook.
I'm just out of high school.
It's just typical. Just pick up the phone. But so anyway, life happens. All this stuff goes on. Then literally, I'm gonna go 4 years ago, maybe 4.5 years ago. I knew we had finally connected on Facebook, but we still weren't really every now and then, hey, how are you? So he was doing a podcast for years called Mars Attacks, and it was a heavy metal podcast. And great movie. He's doing a heavy metal podcast, and he's with this whole digital network of other metal podcasts and things like that. So randomly, I was listening to a completely different podcast, and I had retweeted one of the episodes or something. So these guys, that podcast is called Decibel Geek.
Okay.
So they would retweet and say, "Hey, thanks so and so Twitter handle for
Right. Yeah,
so
for retweeting or
right.
connecting.
So
and
I
all that.
retweeted and they go, hey, thanks, Chris Vaglio at Trooper315 for, do this. So then Victor hits me up on Facebook and goes, did I just hear you? Yeah. And I go, yeah. And then we just started talking again. And then I wound up guesting on his podcast, Mars Attacks.
Right.
But we always had this whole side dialogue going on of all spoiler alert, I'm a total nerd. Giant nerd.
Oh, I was going to totally get into your
Star Wars.
podcast. 'Cause,
Yeah.
so
this
sure.
this is how this came about.
Okay, cool,
It's
cool.
totally by accident.
All right, so
Right.
at this point, you guys are talking about metal because of the podcast.
Right,
But
'cause
you're
he-
having a side conversation about like Game of Thrones and Star
Right,
Wars
Star
and all that
Wars
good
and
stuff.
all comic book stuff. And so
Okay.
he hits me up and he goes, hey man, we should start, you know how I'm doing this podcast, like we should just start doing a podcast where we're doing what we're doing now through Messenger. Like
Right.
we should just start doing that. And I was like, yeah, I guess like that would be cool. And so it originally started out with like 4 guys, and then the other 2 guys got busy and all that, and then it just stayed just Victor and I, and we still keep doing it. So Galaxy of Geeks podcast is our podcast, and we just we try to do it once a month. It's hard because he's 6 hours ahead, so it's the
timing, right.
time is tough because by the time I'm getting done for my day where I can do it, like my window is between like 6 and 8. And, for him, it's already like, 12 o'clock. There's times when we've gotten it's like 3 o'clock in the morning for him. And it's
Boy, I bet you that's good conversation.
oh my God, yeah.
What's the format of that? Like you guys talking? Do you have guests on? Like how's that work?
So mostly it's the 2 of us talking, and we just sort of riff on like some of the hot topics or what's trending. Sometimes we do movie and TV reviews. So basically all we're doing is talking about like what's kind of current in like geekdom, which is Star Wars,
Okay.
Game of Thrones. We actually did a Game of Thrones, like we followed the end of the season. So every week for the last 6 episodes, we did an episode to follow this.
All right.
And, we'll have people like my wife comes on, and like we have other friends who like come on, and it's kind of, every now and then we'll interview somebody who's like this guy who does a comic book, or this guy who's a director or something.
Right,
So
right,
if we
right.
find it interesting. So we'll do that, and we actually started a closed Facebook group too, which has been really cool. So it's
Same name?
yeah, Galaxy of Geeks. So you just search Galaxy of Geeks group, and then so you just answer like 3 dumb superhero
course.
questions, and,
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
in a group. But it's been cool because it's like this like little community now of everybody geeking out, and it's kind of close, so nobody has to like worry about like if I post something in here, like everybody in
Everybody's gonna know
Facebook's
about
gonna
it.
see it.
Right,
Yeah, so
right.
it's just a little bit of a safety net, and it's no drama. It's just fun.
Do you do anything with zombies? Or do you stay away from that?
No, we'll talk zombies. For a while, I was a big Walking Dead fan. I'm still a fan of the comic book. We used to get really, so we would talk about Walking Dead a lot, and it got to a point where we were shitting on the show so much, we were just both fell out of it, fell out of the series, and we kind of stopped talking about it because we didn't want to be constantly so negative all the time or spend times about the show like just crapping on a show. So we figured let's just reserve if we have an opinion or a review of something, we're going to be honest about it. But we just don't want to continuously go on and be like, "Oh, Walking Dead still sucks," And so we just
I lost it a long time ago.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because it was
amazing,
such a good show.
Yeah, but go back to the superhero thing.
Yeah,
I posted this today. Whatever you're doing today, do it with all the confidence of a 4-year-old in a Batman T-shirt.
that's brilliant. That's genius.
Fucking get after it, dude.
Yeah, totally. Come on. How invincible do you feel when she got that on?
Yeah. Or you could even go higher than that and just say like a Batman costume.
Oh.
Not just a T-shirt. You got the whole costume on.
You got the whole costume. I used to get the Halloween costumes, when we were little kids.
Yeah. Were you the kind of guy that would wear it like?
I would keep wearing it. Like I had a Darth Vader costume.
Did you run it around the house like a week before?
Absolutely. And my parents would try to limit that because don't, you're going to ruin it before Halloween. But when Halloween was over, all bets are off, man.
Yeah,
I milked that costume till it was like disintegrating off of me.
Oh, that's awesome.
And like the Darth Vader one back in the day had it was just the mask with the little rubber band in the back.
Yeah.
And you used to buy it it used to just be in a
In a
box.
bag-
so
or
it was
bag,
like
yeah.
everything was all vinyl. It was basically you were in a trash bag, and they had the little plastic cape. But the cool thing was for the lightsaber, it was almost like a tiny flashlight, and you inflated the lightsaber apart.
Oh, okay.
And you'd hit a
Wow.
button and it would
Had like a little fan in it.
it had no fan. It was
Oh.
just as cheap as could be, but like, you know,
was amazing.
I felt so real to me. I'm like,
yeah.
yes, look at this. I have a lightsaber. You know, of course, the minute you try to hit something with it, it just pops. And
yeah. But I remember those old costumes, dude. That was crazy.
yeah, used to
Cheap. Yeah, they'd come in like a little box.
the little box.
And the vinyl in the front.
Yep.
You could see through it and see the
You could
mask
see
sitting
through
on
it. Yeah,
top.
the mask was on top. They used to. So there used to be. Like today, you know, a Halloween store would come and occupy a space. But I remember distinctly going to the Willowbrook Mall with my parents, and right by J.C. Penney, they would set it up, and you would go in, and it was just tables of like all that. The
Yeah,
Halloween,
I remember those.
And you'd walk around, and you know, oh, what's that? You know, you get
Pick
all
out the
this-
one you want.
That was a ritual, man, for a while.
Well, how about those Halloween stores now? They're like up almost year round. What
Yeah,
are they,
there's a
Scare or something.
Yeah.
I think it's called.
Yeah, there's some of those. Well, some of the scare, like the haunted houses things, are kind of up year round. They do those, but yeah, there's the one place in New York. Well, it's just costumes in general,
Right,
So
right.
that's up all around. You know, that's
Yeah.
New York. So, but yeah, some of them.
But you see, like they take over like the strip malls around here. I can't
Something
remember
that's
the
empty.
Halloween something.
Yeah, there's.
they
I used
just-
to work at a Halloween store, and it was that one,
I can't remember the name.
and it used to
but-
be in Rockaway Mall.
How old were you when you're doing that?
I was yes, I was in college, so I was at CCM, and yeah, I just needed a second, you know, just another part-time gig. So I used to work at A&P.
What's the grocery store?
Yeah, which is now gone. But
Oh,
yeah, I
yeah,
worked.
yeah.
I mean, I was working at A&P. I started working there when I was like 14 years old. As I would work Fridays, nights, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Were you like
That
a
was it.
bagger or cashier? Did you
I
like
was
the
everything.
produce
I was
or
never
just a little-
cashier. I was always stock, carts. You know, so if you were a stock guy, but when you a stock boy, but when you needed carts, they just
Go out in the parking lot.
First order, got carts, so you go outside.
I
and
did the
it's
same
freaking,
thing.
You know, you go get push carts and
Yeah, yeah.
and all that. But I eventually moved into like as I grew through the ranks of A&P, I eventually like became like a produce guy, and I actually transferred stores around and things like that. And I worked at A&P until I was like right up and I got right until I got married. I was probably there until I was like 23 years old. So I started
Wow.
at A&P at like 14, was there till 23 until I left and went to work at a private store doing produce. But yeah, in between I had other like little jobs,
gigs.
and the Halloween store was like another like little
Well,
gig.
too, were you always into comics and all that too, growing up?
Yeah, so I definitely I have so many strong memories about being in comic books. So when I was going to high school and everything, like always comics. There used to be a great comic book shop so I grew up in Totowa till I was 16 years old. Then we moved. My family, we moved west and came out. Then we moved into Wharton. So
Okay.
But till I was 16, I lived in Totowa, and that was, the classic, like the kids today, man. Like it was ride your bikes, hang with your friends,
Oh, yeah. That's right, yeah.
We played like Atari, ColecoVision, and television, and
Yeah,
Sega.
you should like if you
Yeah.
to see if your friends could hang out, you would
Right.
ride your bike over and knock on the front door.
That's
And,
it.
hey, can they come out and play?
Yeah,
And-
you just hang out till like
till dark.
till dark, and then play laser tag and all that. So,
Yeah.
But so there was a comic book store in Totowa called Mr. Collector, and man, when I tell you, I must have dropped a small fortune in that store.
Kept his rent paid for a while.
Oh my God! But that place is great, and they had one. There was one in Totowa because Union Boulevard like runs right through Totowa and Patterson. So and I think there was one in West Patterson too. So which is now Woodland Park, but they used to the one in I think the one in West Patterson was bigger. This one was smaller, but he had so much stuff, and he would have like stuff in a glass case, like first editions or something.
Yeah,
You'd
yeah.
be like, oh man, can I?
What am I going to do to
What
steal
am I-
that?
How can I? Yeah, or like how much money? How much of allowance am I going to have to save to get that? Or what am I going to have to trade? So anyway, yeah. Comics. My big thing that I collected was Batman.
Oh, you're a big Batman guy?
Yeah, I used to have so many Batman comics. I still have a bunch. A lot of them are gone. A lot of them got destroyed in a flood situation. But yeah, I was so into Batman. I remember when the movie came out. So I got a great story for you.
What Batman?
So the first Batman movie.
Who played Batman?
In 86. 80, was it 80? No, not 86. I was in high school already, so that was not. 89. 89, 90. It was that freshman year.
Who played Batman?
That was Michael Keaton. So Michael
Okay.
Keaton was Batman. Jack Nicholson was the Joker.
Oh, I remember Jack Nicholson being a Joker.
Yep. And
That wasn't the one with Penguin in it, was it?
no, that was the next one, Batman Returns. That was with Danny DeVito as the Penguin.
Yeah. And who was Batman at that time?
That was still Michael Keaton. So Michael
Okay.
Keaton was Batman both those times. And Kate Basinger was Vicky Vale in that first Batman. So,
We all remember that.
oh yeah, absolutely. That was an all-star cast, man. Jack Palance was in that movie. This is sick. It was great. So, I have a picture of this somewhere too. So so my buddy, and I'm going to name drop my buddy here. He's okay with that. So it's JB. He also a big comic book guy. So he and I are big Batman, always collecting comics. And he had gotten, we still bust his chops to this day, man. We're 45-year-old men, and we still tell the same stupid story and bust
Oh, well,
our chops.
everybody does that.
So we used to say, because he used to be like, oh, I got a hot tip from Fat Moose Comics. It's gonna be like crazy. We got to get there early. We got to wait in line, and we're like, we need to be the first people in line at the theater to see Batman. Like the line's gonna be ridiculous, you know.
Okay, so like first showing like on a Friday night.
First showing on but like our Friday morning, so it was we went we all took the day off from school. God bless our parents for like and a half, and we got to the Totowa Cinema on 46, not the one that was on, not the other, or Cinema 46. Totowa Cinema was the one where used to be an Office Max and all that. That's on 46. This was Cinema 46.
Oh, okay.
And I think they had 3 screens or 4 screens there. So anyway, we get there at I think it's 6 a.m. We all sleep over JB's house. We all get there in the morning. It's like,
And when's the first showing?
there's a whole gang of us. I think the first showing's at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock.
Okay, all right. So you're 6-7 hours ahead of time.
So we're sitting there, and we're all dressed up and everything.
You did the costumes and everything?
We weren't but we had stuff on. I had to find this. I can show you this picture. It's on.
And how old were
It's
you
on
at
my
that time?
Facebook page. So I'm probably 15.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
all right. You could get away with that
But
at
I had a
15.
Batman shirt. I had this Joker fedora hat on it, and so we waited, and the paper came down to talk to us. We found out, I think it was JB's mom. One of the moms called and said, "Hey, there's a bunch of kids." And there was nobody there. We waited
I was
all
just
day.
going to say,
There wasn't a soul
Nobody.
there. Nobody. And we were out there all morning and the early afternoon.
was the weather good?
The weather was beautiful.
Oh, okay.
So
All
the
right.
paper
So-
comes down, interviews us, and they take this picture, and this picture is just immortalized forever. All of
my
us,
God, dude.
all of us knuckleheads standing outside the theater, waiting
Just
for
waiting.
Batman because we wanted to be the first ones because we heard it was going to be a massive line.
That's awesome, dude. I think.
Nerds.
Well, did you see the new Spider-Man, the animated one?
Loved it. I
was-
said it was I thought it was the best Spider-Man movie out of all the movies.
It was. I loved it. I had no idea. A friend of ours, David Deutsch, was like, "You got to see that." I'm like,
Yeah.
"All right."
Oh, I know David. Yeah.
And then here in Montclair, they have outside viewings in the park, so they'll have movies in the park
Right.
because of film festival here. And my wife's like, "Hey, they're showing this Spider-Verse outside. You want to go watch?" I'm like, "Yeah." So we walk down there, get all settled in, having snacks, just relax. I enjoyed the shit out of that movie.
So good.
Holy man.
So well done.
The dialogue was
I loved it.
amazing.
Yeah, dialogue is great, script is great, all the voice actors, they all did it. And the animation is, I love
yeah.
that animation
Yeah,
style.
yeah. And
So
it still had a
great.
little bit of the bang classics,
Yep.
when they're hitting each other and shit.
Yep, I loved it. I loved how they introduced each Peter Parker and all that.
Yeah,
each
the pig.
Spider-Man story. Yeah, Peter Porker. I used to have a bunch of Peter Porker comics.
That's all. That's a real thing. See, I don't follow that stuff.
that was real. Spider-Ham. So that was everybody in there is a real. What is a real Spider-Man? So whether it's a spin-off or anything or something like
okay,
that, but
okay.
yeah, but Spider-Ham, Peter Porker was
That was a good
one of them,
And I think the other one was like a spin-off, the animation,
the anime.
anime,
And
yeah.
Nick Cage played a noir Spider-Man, which that was a little shoot-off series for a little bit.
Was that the Dick Tracy kind of looking?
Yeah, yeah.
That was Nicolas Cage?
That's Nicolas Cage.
That's his voice?
Yeah.
I was listening to him like, I know that voice.
Yeah,
I know that voice.
Nick Cage.
That's awesome. So where did the transition go into, or have you ever always loved Star Wars? Did that come out?
I've always loved Star Wars, 1977.
Right from the beginning, huh?
I remember going to the theater to go see that. I mean, I was really young. I mean, I was like, let's see, it was probably had just turned 4.
How many times in the theater have you seen it?
Well, I
original.
mean, then when I was a little kid, I mean, I probably only the once that I can remember, but I just became obsessed with it after that. You know, it just was something that ingrained in me, burned right into my every being. I don't know. There was just being that
Something
young
about
and
it,
seeing
yeah.
something that spectacular.
Right.
Like it just left such an amazing impression on me, and like I was hooked. And then, you know, of course, the toys come out, and it's just
right
it's
on.
an
Good
extension
marketing.
of what's in my head, like what I saw. You know, I mean, there's no VHS, there's no laser disc. Like there was no way to go see it again unless you like went to the movies again to go see it.
Right. Did you like some of the older, not Star Wars, obviously, but the sci-fi stuff like Dune and all that?
So although I've never read Dune.
Have you ever seen the movie?
I've seen the movie multiple times,
Same here.
the David Lynch film. So I'm on the fence about that film, and I get into this a lot with people. So it's a film I want to really enjoy a lot, and I love David Lynch, and I love Kyle MacLachlan's. I mean, it's a great cast in that film, but there's something about it that just isn't like, it doesn't push me over the edge. So
And it's long too.
it is long. It just, you know, it moves slow. It's they do the best they can with that. I mean, this book, I've never read Dune, is very difficult. I know they're doing it again, and
Are they going to remake it?
Denis Villeneuve, or I'm probably I'm butchering his name, but he's the one that just did the new Blade Runner.
I actually enjoyed that.
And I loved it. And he's doing the new Dune, and I said, okay, this guy is a guy that just like gets it. So I am anxious to see his interpretation of Dune.
It's tough for me. Yeah. Like I remember watching it when I was young because they would show it on cable TV like at holiday weekends, and I saw it on either Netflix or Amazon not too long ago. I tried to watch it and I just couldn't get through it.
Dune.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's a hard one to get through. You really got to be in the right frame of mind to like, all right, I'm watching Dune.
Gotta be high as fuck, probably, huh?
That helps.
That
helps. It helps heighten the senses a little bit.
So going back, I got a question though. Batman.
Yeah. Yes.
Worst and best. Who? I know you thought of this.
So wait, as far as actors that have played Batman.
Yeah.
This is good, and I have talked about this a lot. So So there's also a part. Before I answer this, though, I
gotta explain it.
Here comes the nerdum. There's also another end to this too, because it's not even who plays Batman, but also who plays Bruce Wayne. So this answers to these questions. I'm going to give it to you, and I'm going to set it up in the nerdiest way. So when I give you the answers, I'm going to say,
okay,
all right.
Okay.
So my favorite version of Batman, actually, I really liked the way Christian Bale played Bruce Wayne. Okay. And I thought Christian Bale was an excellent Bruce Wayne. And I did think he was good as Batman in some of the films.
Oh, but his voice, the
voice kind of kills
every
me
time. Yeah.
I was not a fan of that. I will say I like Michael Keaton's Batman, and it's not just because that was the first one I saw, but I really I didn't think he did a good Bruce Wayne, but I think he did a good Batman.
Okay.
He wasn't built like Batman, obviously, because
right.
Bruce Wayne is definitely more chiseled and fit, which is why I think Christian Bale kind of fits that a little bit more.
Christian Bale plays an amazing Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I think he's an excellent Bruce Wayne. I did like Michael Keaton's Batman, and I definitely, as a sweet spot, I will always love the 60s version. I love Adam West. I mean, just as far as camp goes, campy, that's like...
Well, no George Clooney?
I did not like Clooney's Batman.
Me neither.
Did not. Val Kilmer tried really hard. I'm going to give it to Val Kilmer. He tried really hard, but just didn't. It just didn't do it for me.
No.
As far as Batman
I agree
goes.
with you on all those.
Right.
Michael Keaton and I really like Christian Bale as Batman. But that when he's Batman, dude, stop it.
And there are moments too with Ben Affleck as Batman that I did enjoy. Like there's moments where I'm like, oh, that's actually really good. Like that's very like comic accurate. Like that as Batman.
He's got a build. He could get by that.
Bruce Wayne, he was okay, but I think because the thing is, people always have to remember like who's the real guy? Is it Batman or is it Bruce Wayne? And the real guy is Batman. That's the real person.
Right.
Bruce Wayne's the act.
Right.
You know,
playing.
And I mean, it's a dual personality, but that's the guy. That's the act. You know?
Right. I got a funny story about that. Back in Colorado, my nephews were like 6 years old or something. And it was Halloween, and they have this big Halloween festival in Manitou Springs. And they were going as Batman and Superman. Mm-hmm. Well, I think it was Anthony. I can't remember which one, but one that was coming as Batman got sick, so he didn't dress up. So you got Superman, and then you got the other one standing there in regular clothes, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, "What are you supposed to be?" And his mom was like, "Well, he's going to dress up as Batman, but he's not feeling good." I go, "So you're Bruce Wayne?" And he just looked at me. But, I mean, you can't expect for him to get that. But everybody else laughed. I was like, "You're Bruce. I'm just going to call you Bruce Wayne."
Bruce Wayne.
See, I've always thought that, too, to where it's Batman playing Bruce Wayne.
It's true.
Not the other way around.
Very true, because Batman's the real person.
But I don't think you found that out till later. Like the first couple, it's like, okay, it's Bruce Wayne playing Batman. But then as it got deeper into his story, that's the way I perceive it.
Yeah, I mean, in the comic books, as being a comic reader, I mean, it's always set up that, like, especially as they went deeper, like there is a fantastic Batman story that some of the other films have pulled from. Okay. So it's called Year One, and it's written by it's by Frank Miller, who, Sin City and all that.
Okay.
So that story is fantastic because it's literally Batman's year one as Batman. So he's making mistakes. Because it's the first time he's actually going out as Batman after being away. So he tries things, he makes mistakes, he misjudges things. He almost gets caught by the police. It's the first time him and Gordon kind of like meet each other. Like, he's still labeled a vigilante, but like it's first of everything. Huh. And that is the one, for me at least, where it definitely triggered like,
oh, it's Batman playing Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, Batman is Batman's the real. That for me, being a kid, like that was the one that kind of triggered it for me.
Now, what do you think of Justice League, the movie?
So Justice League, I wanted that movie to be so good, so bad. I really did.
There's a couple good parts in it.
There's some good parts, but it's very disjointed. I mean, you can tell they brought in another. I mean, Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder couldn't be any more opposite of filmmakers, and it just didn't work. There's great moments. There are some good moments, but it just didn't hit for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was probably the better of. I liked the original when Zack Snyder did the Man of Steel. I liked it. I wasn't too down with him killing Zod, but spoiler.
But you haven't seen it.
But at the same time, he was killing people, and what else are you gonna do? So I kind of liked the Man of Steel, but then I did not like Batman v Superman. I thought that was a travesty. That was terrible, and the fact to even make that jump into that film from Man of Steel was crazy, like ridiculous.
Right? So here's something. You remember? Do you ever watch I Am Legend?
Yes.
Do you know the whole thing about that?
The billboard with predicting the future kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and how many years before that? So if you haven't, whoever's listening, haven't noticed it, and Will Smith, I Am Legend, which is a phenomenal movie. I love that movie.
Which is also
a remake.
Omega Man with Charlton Heston.
Omega Man.
Yep.
What?
The Omega Man is
Will Smith?
No. So the first time they did that movie, Omega Man with Charlton Heston was like, I don't know if it was the first time they tried to do it, but this book keeps trying to be made. It's like
and then he's like, it's toward the beginning of the movie. He's like racing through the city.
Yeah.
In a Mustang, I think.
It's a Mustang. He's bucking through.
Yeah. And you see on some ripped billboard, Batman versus Superman. Mm-hmm. Now, how many years was that when that movie was made? How many years was it before Batman versus Superman? Do you know?
It
Had
was
to be-
early. I feel like it was like mid 2000s.
Well, I mean, you're talking 4 or 5 years, right?
Let's look it up. Let's look up on. Let's go to the IMDb.
I need an assistant to type all
There we
this
go.
shit in. Dude.
IMDb and. Here we go.
Oh, so going back while you're doing that, going back to zombies
2007.
is what?
That's when I Am Legend was done.
Okay,
That's when it was released. Batman v Superman was 2016.
almost 9 years.
9 years.
Damn, that's pretty funny, dude.
Isn't
And
it?
when did they say what year it was?
In that film?
Yeah, was it in the future? Like it was released in 07, but were they
Yeah.
saying like 2018 or 2020? You know how they do that?
I Am Legend.
In the year.
It just doesn't say.
Doesn't
This
say.
synopsis doesn't really say what year. Oh, it does. Sorry. It's the year 2012 in the ruins of New York City.
Oh man, even sooner.
Yeah.
So that was pretty funny. I don't know where I saw that. Somebody pointed that out to me too. But that was a good movie. But speaking of zombies, I like the post-apocalyptic zombie stuff.
Yeah, so do I.
And I listen to a lot of Audible books, and I've listened to some that are just fucking horrible. And
Yeah.
and I've listened to a lot of good ones.
Right.
And there's this one that I fucking love, dude, just absolutely love. And there's like 12 of them, and it's like zombie Fallout or whatever.
Oh, really?
And there's the humor in it is amazing. The dialogue between the two main characters is fucking phenomenal, dude.
Oh, I gotta
It's-
check
it's a
Zombie
laugh.
Fallout. I gotta check that out.
By Mark Tufo.
Oh, I gotta write that down.
Yeah. Awesome
Mark
audiobooks.
Tufo.
So it's been a while, and I kind of forgot about
Right.
them. And then Audible sends me a thing that says, "Hey, a new Zombie Fallout book is out." Dude, I was excited, so I'm listening to it, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna take a minute and kick this guy a message and say, I appreciate it, dude. I love these books,
Right.
And so I do just that. He's got a website, and I hit him up, and he hits me back, and he says, "Hey, appreciate your support," and didn't give me a spoiler, but gave me a little thing to, hey, there's more to come, basically.
Little
right?
teaser.
So, and I said, I appreciate that. And, oh, by the way, I do this little podcast. You want to be on it? He's like, absolutely. I was like, holy shit.
Whoa.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Awesome.
That would be fun. So we're working out the details. I think he lives in, no, I won't. I don't know if
Right.
he wants people. So I'm going to take a weekend, and the wife and I are going to travel to see him and spend the afternoon
That's awesome.
just bullshitting with him. Seems like a cool guy, all his
That's
banner
awesome.
back and forth on email.
Yeah.
Yeah, but some of the stuff he comes up with in the books, I'm like, are you what the how do you come up with that? But it's awesome.
And to
dude.
write that many books too, man. He's prolific.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah, and they flow. I don't think, and I wrote this in his email, my original email to him. What I really love about him is never in any of these books I went, oh fuck, come on, just move along here.
Right.
Not once, or went. Seriously? You know how you're like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, well,
Right.
of course you're talking about a zombie apocalypse, so
Of course.
but he gets into some super sci-fi stuff, but he makes it work. Like you don't go, oh, what? Really? But you're like, oh, that's cool. What's next? Oh, that's cool. What's
Right.
next? But what I like about zombie books is how when they talk about like the day-to-day things that you need to do, right? Like in one of these books, they talk about they raided a Five Below store because they needed socks. Because they're like, hey, man.
There's socks everywhere there.
Yeah,
And it's not the place people are going to think first when they go to loot.
to loot, right. So, and then they talk about like toilet paper and just like everyday things that we take for granted.
Right. You could just go to, but yeah, when you're living in a world with zombies and they're everywhere, and especially as you go to like more urban city areas, it's like you don't
you
know.
imagine?
You could be attacked anywhere.
Yeah.
You can't see.
Right.
You have a very limited line of sight, and they could come from anywhere. So you got to be really, you got to be careful.
Could you imagine being in like New York City?
Oh my God, there's no way.
There's no way you could make it.
There's no.
way.
I don't think there's any way. I mean, you have to be real. Man, you got to be real because I mean, they could come at you from anywhere.
Well, the only thing is you got to be like up in a building, right? And no exits or entrances. But now you're stuck.
But
You're
then
like
you're
in a fucking
stuck. So
tomb.
you got to be able to devise a way that you can get in and out undetected.
Yeah, but when it's the whole place is just the streets, like in Walking Dead, like the first couple episodes where he goes into the city.
Yeah.
When he gets under that tank.
Oh my God.
I was freaking out, dude. And then he goes
was
up in the
nuts.
tank because
Yeah.
those guys are still in there. That's what would happen, dude. You would just have
is.
fucking nowhere to go.
It would be, because if you get yourself cornered, you're
done.
dead. You're
done.
absolutely dead.
Yeah.
You're going to be joining the dead.
Dead. Yeah, I like zombies and was there? I read an article years ago that universities had a zombie apocalypse, like where you could get credit,
Right.
like classes or whatever,
Right.
and it wasn't for fucking the undead coming alive and doing all that, right?
Right.
It was more of, a power outage or a typhoon or
Right.
whatever, like how to, if everything collapsed. Not that you're getting chased by zombies.
Right, but like
How to prepare
what would
for it
happen
and
in
what would
a
happen in-
disaster, apocalyptic, where everything is shut down.
Right.
Like,
And they would just go through scenarios. just to-
survival.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do very well at that. I was only in Boy Scouts for like a year or two. So.
Yeah, I'm more for living, not surviving. So
Yeah.
I'd be like, whatever, dude.
I don't know if I would last very long. I would
No.
try to. The thing is, you got to simulate. You got to join up with a group that
Right.
and then you could maybe learn some other skills from them because they're really good. So it's like,
Oh yeah, that's so
strength in numbers.
You ever see that movie, The Postman? With
That's
Kevin
a movie
Costner?
that's a movie that's on my list that I've never
amazing.
seen,
I
and
love
it's
it.
always been like one of those. My father-in-law saw it and said that he loved it. He thought it was great.
Good movie. And what I've always thought, if everything goes to shit, it's going to end up being like Blade Runner or The Postman. It's going to be alt fucking technology,
Right.
or we're going to be like 1800s and living in hamlets everywhere. And like you said, we're going to be gardening, and one guy can weld. So you got a mechanic or whatever.
That guy's gonna have the skill. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's going to be
whatever
really
you're good
important
at.
because that's what he can do.
Right.
Yeah.
You
I
earn your
always think
keep.
that. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's exactly. And it's funny too. We brought that up is in these books, there's camps like that, and that's our. You got to be able to contribute to stay.
That's it.
But,
You got to have a skill. You got to do something.
So what's I got to hit you up on Star Wars, man.
Yeah.
I know you're a fan, and I've always.
This is gonna turn into a 3-hour episode.
But I always wanted to hear you talk about Star Wars, and we got to get into Game of Thrones because I had some crazy theories about Game of Thrones.
Oh man.
Unless you want to do that on your podcast, I'd be more than happy to.
Well, you know what? I just did like all that Game of Thrones stuff.
Okay,
So
okay.
we're a little we're
coming
Game
up
of Thrones
next?
out, but
What's coming up next? What do you guys?
on the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, we just cut a new episode on Thursday, and I'm a little behind on editing it, but I'm going to get that up. We're going to release that this week, and that's just what we did is we did a review of Dark Phoenix. We talked about John
that's
Wick
a girl
3.
from Game of Thrones, right? That's
Yeah.
the Stark girl. Yeah.
Yeah. We did
John Wick.
John Wick 3 was awesome.
I haven't seen it
If
yet.
you don't go, you have to go see John Wick 3. Right now,
I've seen the other two, and it's probably the same, right? Just fucking he kills everybody.
I'm gonna say what I said on a podcast. It's right now. It's the best action movie of the summer.
Oh, no shit.
Gotta
Well,
see
you're
John
not an
Wick 3.
Avenger fan?
Huh?
You're not an Avenger?
Oh, I love Avengers. But see,
okay.
I put. Okay, so here goes.
Okay, we're gonna geek out again?
We're gonna geek. I put Avengers into a separate category. So I put Avengers as comic book action.
Okay, well, makes sense. Makes sense.
So
Yeah,
I
okay.
separated out. So not that John Wick is like super realistic, but it's not like anybody has like superpowers or anything like that.
okay. All right.
So
All right.
I put that as a superhero genre. I loved. Oh my god, I loved.
I was going to say,
the
oh
Avengers.
my God, somebody like you.
Oh my god, no, I love the Avengers, but I put it in a separate category.
So would you be mad at me if I told you I was a fan of Theranos?
No, Thanos is a great villain.
Oh my God.
Villain.
What was it, the first one he was introduced?
That
Not
would
Civil War.
be
No.
the end of, or no, I'm sorry. The first time I think we see Thanos is in Thor. Is it Thor?
Well, he's on where Loki goes, and he's still got all the armor on, and he's on that other planet, or he's somewhere else.
Right. But
So
well,
that
that was the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, so
We
you see
that.
him there, but
there was another introduction to Thanos. It may have been at the end of Iron Man or one of them. There was an end credit scene, and we saw Thanos. I can't remember which one it was. So, and then we saw Thanos in Avengers with that, and then I think he should. Maybe it was one of. Maybe it was the end of the Thor movie.
What was the one he was really in where he's collecting the stones and stuff? That was
so. That's the Infinity. That's Infinity War, and then Endgame.
Okay, Infinity. Yeah, watching Infinity War, I was like,
oh, he was also in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, I love those movies.
Yeah, he was in the first Guardians of the Galaxy for a bit.
Oh yeah, I remember him
because he was with Ronan the Accuser and trying to get Ronan, because Ronan the Accuser was supposed to go get the stones, but he got the Power Stone and he kept it for himself.
Yeah,
and and then that was that whole thing. And the Nova Corps has
during Infinity War, I was like, I don't know why I like this guy.
No, he's great. No, Thanos is a great villain.
Oh my god,
because he's so intelligent. Like he's so super smart and so intelligent,
and like calm. Like he doesn't,
because he's just he's got it all figured out. And he also feels like he's right. He's on a mission. So
that's true. That's a good point.
He feels like what he's doing is 100% right, and it's going to save everybody.
Right.
By doing what he's doing.
Yeah, good movies though.
Oh, but fantastic.
We could go on another whole tangent of that.
Oh my god!
Real quick though, Captain America, thumbs up.
All of them? Or are you just
no, not Captain America. Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, awesome.
I loved it too.
Loved it.
Samuel L. Jackson is just the shit, dude.
He crushed it. He's so good as Nick Fury.
Oh
yeah, I loved Captain
that
Marvel
cat too.
Oh yeah, the Flurkin. Goose.
That's awesome.
The only disappointing thing about Endgame is I wanted to see a Goose and Rocket Raccoon team up.
Oh, that would have been great.
How awesome would that be?
My God,
Goose and Rocket? Would have been so good.
I love Rocket too.
Rocket
He's
so great.
He's so great. All right, so Star Wars. I know you got some tattoos of Star Wars.
I do.
How'd that start?
So my very first,
you got like a whole sleeve,
yeah.
Right?
So the first tattoo I ever got, not that anybody could see this on the podcast, but so the first tattoo I got was on my left arm, and I got that one as soon as I turned 18, and it's literally it's from the Return of the Jedi poster where you see Luke's two hands and he's holding the lightsaber. That was one of the Return of the Jedi posters. That was the first tattoo I ever got, and then as I got older, I got other tattoos. Then when this was probably like, I think this tattoo might be 5 years old. Maybe longer now. It's 2019 now. So maybe 6 years ago, I started saying I want an entire Star Wars sleeve.
I was going to ask you, when did the sleeve idea come in?
So the sleeve started probably about 6 years ago. But in between that, I had gotten a big tattoo of Betty Page, which rests on the same arm as a Star Wars tattoo. So I was a little like, well,
how do you mix that in?
Because I just didn't at that time. I didn't know I was going to want a sleeve, but then I figured. So I said, "Oh no, how am I going to mix that in?" And I go to the guys. If it's okay if I plug them,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I go to the guys at Pure Ink, Danny Payne, and his whole crew, awesome dudes. Anyway, so Danny was like, hey, it's no problem at all. We're going to be able to blend her right in. She's going to work. It's okay. And, people will probably think she's part of it anyway.
Yeah. But you do. I would have never.
Yeah. So he blended all that space, all the purple with the space. And so I have Boba Fett on my arm. I've got Slave One. I've got... so it ties in with the two hands.
So where did Boba Fett? Why these specific...
So it's very popular to be a Boba. I've always loved Boba Fett. He was a mystery character.
Yeah.
So before Empire Strikes Back came out, when I used to collect the figures, they were running promotions. So before Empire Strikes Back came out, they were like, if you send in, I think it was four barcodes or maybe 5 barcodes.
Oh God, I remember when they used
and then
to
maybe $4 for shipping, and you could get this character that's going to be in Empire Strikes Back before the movie even comes out.
Oh wow, cool.
So I did that,
and that's who you got.
And I got Boba Fett. I knew it was going to be Boba Fett.
But
I didn't know who he
character?
was. Huh?
Was it so anybody that sent that in got Boba Fett, or was it just random?
No, you got Boba Fett.
Oh, okay.
That was the way to get Boba Fett. Initially, before the film came out, you could get this special new character that's going to be in the next film.
Great marketing, dude.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You ate that up.
So genius. Even better marketing is when before the original Star Wars characters even came out, they basically sold a card for Christmas because they couldn't get the characters out in time for Christmas when they decided to do it.
Oh, like
so they literally sold a piece of cardboard that was called the early bird set. So you paid in advance for the figures, the first few
amazing
figures.
marketing.
I think it was like 5-6 figures, and you
Genius.
but you gave this this piece of cardboard as the gift, saying, "Okay, well, your figures will be in."
Did it had like the pictures of each figure
It
on
did.
it and stuff? Yeah.
It did, but it was called the early bird set or something like that.
Yeah, but I could see you, man. The kid.
Yeah, but I didn't. My parents didn't do that. That was
okay.
fine.
Okay.
But the Boba Fett I got. So Boba Fett I've always been fixated, and then the movie came out, and it's like, oh my god, this guy's mysterious. He's got the coolest looking armor. He's a bounty hunter.
I was gonna say he was a bounty hunter or a bodyguard.
Yeah, he's a bounty hunter. Yeah.
Who ends up playing that?
So the guy in the suit was an actor. His name's Jeremy Bullock. So, but he didn't. They did his on set. They used his voice, but then they had a voice actor do the voice for Empire. You know, they redubbed it. But he was the guy in the suit. Same thing with Darth Vader. David Prowse was the guy in the suit, but James Earl Jones did the voice.
Yeah. A little side note with. Did you see that meme I posted quite a while ago? It has Princess Leia, and then it has what's her name?
It's
God, what's her name from Game of Thrones? Cersei.
Cersei.
Where she's like, I kissed my brother, and Cersei's like, bitch, please.
Yeah, bitch, please. Yeah, that's great.
But so Boba Fett. Okay, and then do you think he kept being a bigger, just from popularity, they kept putting him in more roles, or?
Well, they didn't, because he's only in a small role in Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
He's barely in it. I shouldn't say he's not like a main character. He's like a real sub character. But then Return of the Jedi, they're like, oh my God, Boba Fett's going to be in this, and then they wind up, he has the worst death scene ever in.
I don't remember that.
And he falls into the Sarlacc pit after getting hit. He gets his jetpack hit with Han's turning around, and he accidentally hits his jetpack, and his jetpack goes flying, and he hits Jabba's barge, and he falls into the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah. Ooh, that would suck.
Yeah. So that was lame. That's a lame death for a guy who's like the most badass like bounty hunter in the galaxy.
Yeah. But most of the time,
I know
that's how it probably happens,
right.
huh?
Yeah.
You want something all spectacular, and
right.
It's like it. Well, I know we're jumping around, but Game of Thrones, were like Cersei and Jamie.
Yeah.
I wanted something like.
It was that death scene was.
It's kind of.
It was a little anticlimactic, yeah. I mean, because you're like, oh my God, like I'm thinking of something big's gonna happen, like Arya's gonna show up, but then Arya leaves, so you're like, okay, maybe Tyrion's gonna.
Well, I thought Daenerys was gonna fly up there with the dragon
and just light her up
and light her up in the Red Keep, because she's like, the Red Keep has never fallen,
Right, and then Jaime's gonna run up there at the same time, and they're both gonna like die in flames or something like that. But
hey, I had a bet, or Vegas had Ari be 1,800 to 1 to be on the Iron Throne.
Arya Stark.
Yeah, that's who I bet.
I kept saying I thought it was going to be Tyrion the whole time. I'm like, it's going to be Tyrion.
No,
it's going to be Tyrion.
I would have argued with you on that one. I knew he'd be the hand.
Right.
That was kind of a given.
Right.
But the storyline of Bran, I never liked that storyline. That's the only thing I didn't like about Game of Thrones. Was that storyline.
And now the show's been done for a little bit, and I keep thinking about I like it in the sense I've thought about this so many different ways of like why it could work and why he winds up being good, because the fact that he can see into the future, so they can make decisions based. I mean, really, Tyrion's running that show.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Tyrion's Bran's just there to keep doing Bran things.
Yep.
But Tyrion's running the government, the day to day.
Yeah, and I like how they. Where Tyrion made a point where he can't father kids, and that's where the whole Bran the Broken, and he's breaking the wheel and doing all that too.
Right, exactly. So you don't wind up getting like a Joffrey and all that and all that nonsense.
Yep. But they made it so there's going to be 15 spin-offs and prequels.
Yeah, I mean, they're already the new one is called Blood Moon.
There's already one coming out.
So it's set. I think it's set 300 years before Game of Thrones. before the events of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, yeah.
And already cast in that is Ashley Judd.
Ooh.
Am I right on that? Let me. I think it's Ashley. Oh,
And
wait,
I
no,
think,
I'm sorry. I take that back. It's Naomi Watts.
Well,
Sorry.
that's just.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that too.
Naomi Watts is.
They're both hot.
I think it's Blood Moon. Let me.
And I think Mother of Dragons there. I think she's still alive.
I think that
The red lady can't be the only person with power enough to bring somebody back.
I
And dragons are all magical and
Right.
everything anyway.
Yeah, I think Blood Moon is what it's going to be called. That's the Game of Thrones.
And it's Naomi Watts.
Naomi Watts is going to be in it.
Was she in Star Wars?
Naomi Watts was not in Star Wars. Laura Dern was in Star Wars just recently.
Okay. No.
Oh, this is set 5,000 years before the events of the current series. Sorry,
Holy shit.
I
couple days.
I misspoke.
5,000 years. So Blood Moon is a prequel set 5,000 years before.
Right.
the
So I
series
think it's
started.
supposed to be with the first incarnation of the Long Night, which is the first time the Night King actually came down, and then hopefully we'll see the story of Azor Ahai and the prince that was promised and how he beat back then.
And the wall was built.
And the wall was built and all that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
People will watch it.
Oh, I'll watch it.
What about spin-offs like Arya going to the end of the world? And,
As much as I would
and
like
Jon Snow going with...
Yeah, see, as much as I would like to see some of that stuff, I don't think it would work because it's like I think if they did like a little mini movie or something, I might be into it. But I think a reoccurring series with Arya traveling, like, I think it's kind of like, okay, what else? Like, who cares?
What else you gonna do?
Like, what else are you gonna do? What else are you gonna do with her? You know, the show works because you have so many of these other stories going on that you can like, break away, and it's like you just get other storylines. I think if you just focus on that, like, who cares? Like, who cares about Sansa being Queen of the North? Like, I don't want to see a show about that.
And like you said, maybe a movie, and that's about
Maybe
it.
a movie would be kind of cool, or like, see, actually, I feel like what would be more interesting is if you're gonna bring everybody back, like jump 30 years into the future, or like,
Yeah, I could see. Okay.
like now here's what's going on in Westeros after 30 years after these events, or 50 years after these events.
Yeah. Everybody's an old man.
That would be interesting.
Did you see? Did you watch Vikings?
I did not watch Vikings. My friend Carrie watches that, and she loves it, but I did not watch it.
It's a great show, dude.
I've heard it's like Game of Thrones light. Like, it's a lighter version of Game of Thrones.
Oh my God, it's 10 times more bloody.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great show though.
All right.
Well done, very well done.
I know you're
History
like
Channel.
you're like the 10th person who's told me I need to watch Vikings. So I guess at
that's a
some
great
point
one.
I gotta start watching that.
Speaking of spin-offs and all these other ones with Star Wars, like, what do you think of? I mean, they could go on forever with that stuff, I assume, right?
So
what's your opinion on
there
that?
there is a quote. I forgot where I read it, but George Lucas did say, of course this is in his head, but he's like, what I've shown you on screen is like 1% of like what's this universe, and it's true. You can go forever. Now, as far as what we're seeing play out now is the Skywalker saga, and we're going to see the end of the Skywalker saga, which is fine by me.
Yep.
Let's move on. Let's end the Skywalker story line and be done with that.
Where do you think it'll go from there?
So I think after that, you could pretty much go anywhere. I mean, now the series that Benioff and Weiss are working on, the guys from Game of Thrones, Dave and Dan, so they are doing the next trilogy.
Oh, wow, cool.
Their trilogy, rumored, they're writing it now, but the rumor is that this is going to take place thousands of years before what we all know, which there's ample,
like the Walker.
before like any of the Skywalker stuff and all that. So basically in Star Wars, like the books and there's video games, like there's a popular game, Knights of the Old Republic, and that takes place like 1,000 or so years before all the Skywalker stuff, but you still have Jedi and you still have Sith and all that. But this is a time when like there's lots of Jedi and there's lots of Sith running around, and then you get the rule. See, I'm going to get really dorky.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
But then you get the creation of the Rule of Two, which is like there can only ever be two Sith, a master and apprentice, which is created by Darth Bane. But there's all these backstories of generations of different Jedi and ancient Sith stories.
Well, they touched on that through the
They do
through the movies.
Yeah, and you see the book, and like in the last Jedi, that last film, Luke is on that island, which is like the first Jedi temple, and they've got the book, the original Jedi training scrolls.
Well, the books didn't they destroy them?
No, she stole them. She stole them because they give you the quick glimpse, like she's pulling out and drawing a Millennium Falcon. You see all the books in there.
Yeah. Okay. I missed that part. I thought she burned them.
Well, yeah, because Yoda lights it on fire, and it's like, the ancient scrolls, and he starts busting Luke's chops about the page turners they were, or they weren't.
Yoda voice. Got to do a Yoda voice. You can never quote Yoda
without doing the Grover voice. And they bought Frank Oz back to do that, and they did the puppet. So they actually brought Frank Oz back to do the Yoda puppet and do the voice, which they haven't used the Yoda puppet since Empire Strikes Back and Jedi.
Was there actually a costume? It's always been a puppet.
It was only a puppet in Empire and Jedi, and then in all the terrible prequels, it was all CG. But then for Last Jedi, they actually made the puppet again. Oh, okay. And they had Frank Oz do the puppeteering and the voice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, how could he be in that prequel? Because how old's he? He's supposed to be...
So he's 900 years old, I think.
So he wouldn't
when he dies in Jedi, I think he's 900 years old. So he may not... If they go thousands of years, then probably not.
Thousands of years.
But I don't know. See, this is just rumor. No one knows because they're writing it.
Right.
But I already has a feeling that it's going to be set way in the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I would actually like it if they don't, because I don't think I like, I don't know if I need to see a Yoda backstory. I'd rather just introduce to like I don't mind going Ancient Sith and Ancient Jedi. I just would rather be all new characters, or maybe characters we've heard of in tales and stories,
right?
But not like actually seen on screen.
So, like a Yoda,
I don't want to see you. I mean, it's fine. Yeah. I don't need the mystery to be solved. I like having the like when George Lucas in Phantom Menace told everybody what the Force was, like you ruined it. You ruined it for everybody. I don't need the scientific, let there be some imagination to it. Like I get it. Like, well, there's these midichlorians, and because there's so many of them, that builds a life force, and that's why life is connected to the Force. Come on.
Let everybody come up with their own thing.
Let me have some mysticism,
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you'll always be a fan.
Always.
There's nothing in there that you look at and go, why'd they do that?
Oh, no, absolutely. I do not like those prequel movies. I think Phantom Menace is awful. I think Attack of the Clones is even worse than Phantom Menace. And Revenge of the Sith has some redeeming qualities to it. There are some great moments in Revenge of the Sith,
right,
but not enough to save it as a full movie.
Now, do you think that was just marketing?
No, I just think it's George Lucas being in complete control of everything, and who's going to tell him no? He's financing everything himself. It's his movies. He's writing them. He's directing them.
Yeah, but where does Walt Disney come in on that now?
Well, Disney, he does those on his own, and then after he's done, he says, I'm not doing any more Star Wars movies, I'm done. Disney comes in and makes him an offer.
Oh, okay. And then what do you think about the Disney Channel, like
Disney Plus?
Disney Plus.
I'm so excited. I am
just
so
have
excited
everything
for
in one.
The Mandalorian. I am excited. That is the next thing coming up. It's the first live action Star Wars television show ever. It's called The Mandalorian, and it takes place, I think, not right after, but I think.
So like
I think it's 6 months after Return of the Jedi.
And it's going to be like have seasons and episodes like.
It's a series.
Wow,
yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a series, and it focuses on actually another Game of Thrones. So he was killed by the mountain. Prince Ober
from Dorne.
From Dorne.
That was an amazing fucking fight scene. We were just talking about that the other day.
I think Pedro Pascal's his real name. He's playing the main character, the Mandalorian.
Well, I like that guy.
Yeah,
I like that guy a lot.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Speaking real quick, you'll probably know. We were trying to figure out. We were kayaking over the weekend, and we were trying to figure out when did the mountain get killed. And I know that he was gone for a while because what's his name was making him basically Frankenstein.
He basically got killed in that fight with the Prince of Dorne because he got stabbed and cut up, and basically he got up to just kill him, but then he fell over. He was gravely
That's when he died.
He was gravely injured.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember his character. He ended up being the hand of the queen.
Oh, that was
he's like, let me take him, and
that's the Meister who got tossed out. Oh my God,
Because I know the Mountain hated him for doing that, so that's why he crushed him. That's my theory.
Well, he got in his way because he wanted to
go to his brother.
He wanted to kill his brother. Nothing was going to stand in his way.
Right. But I thought too that
when it came to
he had a thing against quote unquote his creator.
Yeah.
So it
Qyburn.
probably felt good for him.
That was his name.
Crush
Qyburn.
his head.
Yeah.
That was his character's name?
Yeah, Qyburn.
Okay.
Yeah, No, he met. I just loved. It was like not even thought. He's like, "How dare you defy me?" And his head like exploded like a grape. I loved it.
The Hound though. What a great character, dude.
He was such a great character, and that was a great scene. I mean, what did you think of that fight between him and the Mountain?
Just fucking die.
Just fucking die. He's like taking the knife like right in his eye. And
did you ever hear him like see any interviews with
Rory
him?
Gallagher? Rory Gallagher, I think is his name.
Got a great accent.
Yeah.
And somebody said that he's just the biggest sweetheart you'd ever know.
Yeah, that's what everybody says about him. And man, I thought he was he was one of my favorites to the whole show.
The whole thing.
His catchphrase, "For fuck's sake." For fuck's sake.
I like the fucking Clint. Guy I loved his character.
So good. He's so good.
And then so do you have like incredible amount of Star Wars stuff?
So I have a lot of Star Wars stuff. I wouldn't say I'm the ultimate Star Wars collector because I know
Do you
people...
have like specific stuff that you like to collect?
There are certain things I like to collect, and I've gotten more choosy as I've gotten older because I've gone through binges of buying stuff.
Ends up in a crate somewhere, and
Yeah, so some stuff I have on display in the house. I have stuff in my office on display. I like to collect the Star Wars Black Series figures because they're not like the original little ones. They're like a little bit bigger, maybe.
Kind of like the original G.I. Joes. Remember those?
A little, but they're like half the size of that. Okay. So they're in between. Maybe they're...
Well, no, okay, so I'm sorry. I meant the G.I. Joes that I played with.
No, that's what I'm saying. But these are like half the size of that.
No, but the G.I. Joes I played, I'm holding on my hands, they're about as tall as this cup.
Yeah.
Not the original G.I. Joes.
Right,
where
it was like the big, yeah. It's about that size. Yeah. And they put a lot of detail into them. They're very nice, and they're usually like $20 a pop when they come out new, but they go fast.
Okay.
So, but I don't collect them all. There's like certain characters I want, or if it just looks cool, like it's a cool, I'll get it. I'll buy it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what's your theory on the Stormtrooper always missing everything?
Well, originally they used to not because they were clones. So the Stormtroopers were leftovers of the clone army from, but then when those clones died out, because they did, and they didn't make any new clones, they just moved into general recruiting. And the Empire was growing so fast.
They just threw everybody
They basically, and they were constantly recruiting. And people too were like, well, you could go to prison or you could join the Empire, or so it's like, all right, they just basically put anybody. And there were accurate stormtroopers, but your average everyday stormtrooper, like they just don't. They're looking not to get killed. They just want to get by, like
right.
Not so like anybody else.
So you don't think they did that on purpose to make them miss like that for?
Well, I mean, I think in context of it being like, George Lucas always said like Star Wars, he thought it was a kid's movie, so I think he wanted to also tone down the amount of like
violence.
Okay, like you're shooting and this is cool, but like you don't want to see your heroes getting like
of course not.
But then he says that, but then there's dramatic scenes like when Luke comes home and he sees Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen like burned to a crisp. Like that's like
but that's
I remember being like a kid and being like, whoa, like they're skeletons and they're on like all smoky, which I think was Boba Fett who did that, by the way.
Little.
Well, because because you find out like later on through books and stuff that Darth Vader had Boba Fett, like hired Boba Fett to be looking for the droids as well.
Yep.
And he had tracked the droids back to Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. And everybody thinks that Boba Fett is the one that went and destroyed and disintegrated. Because in Empire Strikes Back, he's got all the bounty hunters lined up. And he's like, I want you to find Captain Solo and the ship and everybody else. And then he turns to Boba Fett and he goes, and no disintegrations. And Boba Fett goes, as you wish. And so that's why I think that's
bringing it back
because he disintegrated
those two,
the Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen.
Now, how come?
This is some real nerd shit now, man.
That's awesome.
For everybody listening right now, they must be like, "What is going on? What the fuck? This guy?
See,
does this guy have a life?"
I've always loved Star Wars, and all like fantasy, sci-fi thrillers. I always enjoy them. Mm-hmm. I enjoy them. Most of the time, I don't get into like the backstories and stuff. That's why I was excited to talk to you because I'd be like, "Holy cow!" They're like everything you're talking about. Like I remember that.
I'm fascinated by it, and I've got I've got friends who are way deep. My buddy Kenny is like, he goes even deeper, and I'm always like, "Oh my god," because he's read so many more books than me. He's got an awesome Star Wars collection. He buys lightsabers. I have a lightsaber. Him and his wife just bought these custom-made lightsabers. They are sick. I want one so bad.
Oh no shit, huh? Like
Yeah, they're beautiful.
What's the quote unquote blade made out of?
It's like usually like some kind of like a carbon fiber like tube,
Okay,
you know, and then it
lights
lights up and it makes a sound. But the hilts, you can get like hilts like custom designed, or you can buy a hilt from one. You know, like they go, oh, this is like Mace Windu's hilt or Luke's hilt,
yeah, sure,
and you can buy those and have like replicas made, or you can custom make your own hilt.
Damn.
Yeah, it's cool shit, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's worth it. I want one so bad.
So how come? Is it Java or Jabba?
Jabba the Hutt.
How come he gets a bad rap, dude?
Because he's a gangster. You know, he's
Oh,
like,
wow, I never even thought of that.
He's a vile gangster. I
didn't even think about calling him
Hutts are traditionally gangsters in the galaxy, so they're like organized. You know, they're organized crime. And so so like guys like Han Solo work for him because they're smugglers. So it's Han Solo is good at it. He's a smuggler. He wants to be an outlaw. But if you cross these guys, like they're gonna, and that's why he was coming after him. Well, that's why he put a bounty on his head because Han had dumped whatever, I forgot. He dumped spice or something that was valuable. He dumped it because he was getting boarded. But so Jabba's like, okay, fine, you dumped it. You owe me that money. And he's like, no. Okay, fine, I'll pay you back. And so that runs that joke. But then finally he sends Boba Fett. Well, he sends all the bounty hunter, but he gets Boba Fett after his ass. And
that's
and he conducts the bounty.
Never even thought of that, him being a gangster,
He's
but that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So the Hutts is like there's more like
there's
him?
a Hutt family. Yeah, and Jabba was the son of, I think it was Torga the Hutt or something like that.
What kind of creature would they call him? Like
he's some kind of it's actually there's a name for them. Hold on, I'll tell you right now. I'm blanking out on this.
Man, I thought you'd know that right off your head.
I know. It's
put me on the spot.
So Jabba the Hutt species. So okay, so basically, so the Hutts were large, like sentient species who were native to the planet Nalhutta. They were known as galactic gangsters whose Grand Hutt Council controlled the Hutt clan crime syndicate. One famous Hutt was a crime lord Jabba who ruled massive. So they're more like, I guess species is like some large slug. I guess the Hutts.
Speaking of gangster stuff, the movie Tombstone?
Oh, yes.
Love Tombstone.
Great movie.
Quote that whole movie.
Movie's fantastic. I got to watch that again recently. That's a great movie.
Somebody just sent me, fucking David Deutsch sent me a clip from where, God, what's his name? Main character.
That's...
God, what the hell's his name? Who plays Wyatt Earp?
Hold on.
Holy Christ, I can see him.
We're blanking out here. Let's see.
But where he goes into the saloon and gives Billy Bob Thornton a rash of shit.
Yes.
What a great scene, dude. But people
Kurt Russell, that's
right. I keep thinking of
listen to this lineup,
the L.A. Lost in L.A. or Escape from L.A.
Escape from L.A. Escape from New York.
Escape from
Snake Plissken.
Line up for what? Tombstone?
Yeah, think about this lineup. I'm just going to read off the actors.
Okay.
Just out of memory, because this is just great. Kurt Russell.
And he played a great Wyatt Earp.
Val Kilmer.
I think Kelvin Costner.
As Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
Sam Elliott.
How can you go wrong with Sam Elliott?
Bill Paxton as Morgan Earp.
Ugh.
Powers Booth.
Who did he play?
Curly Bill Brocious.
Oh, shit, that's right. Yeah.
Michael Biehn from the Terminator movies and from Aliens. Charlton Heston was in this.
Was he the old sheriff, Charlton Heston?
Yeah, Henry Hooker.
Yeah.
Jason Priestley.
What the hell did he play?
Billy Breckenridge. Thomas Hayden Church was in this. Dana Delaney. Stephen Lang.
What a great movie, dude.
Even Michael Rooker was in this.
So many good one-liners came from that movie.
Billy Bob Thornton.
Billy Bob Thornton was fat in that one.
Yeah. Billy Zane.
Yeah, he was.
Mr. Fabian.
Wasn't he the bad sheriff? No.
Uh,
No, he was the gay performer.
that's right.
Yep. And then who was the lady was kind of an unknown, right?
Even Frank Stallone was in this.
No shit. What did he play?
Frank Stallone, which I never realized. I'm like, Ed Bailey.
You know, Ed. Oh yeah. I remember Ed Bailey. One of my favorite scenes is when the dance hall and saloon gets shot up, and Dennis Quaid is Doc Holliday,
Oh yeah.
and it's getting all shot up, and everybody ducks, and he's just fucking sitting there like didn't even move. He's just like playing cards. He's like, I don't give a shit if I get shot. He played a good. He played a good. But
Which also leads me to think about another great Western movie that I really enjoy.
what's that one?
Young Guns.
Oh well, come on, dude. That's a fucking classic.
Regulators.
Oh, dude, come on.
Well, some people roll their eyes. I go, how could you roll your eyes?
No, I love those.
Regulators, mount up.
No, yeah. Man, that's a good cast too. But going back real
Yes,
quick on
yeah.
Tombstone, people are like, "That's a good Western." I'm like, "No, it's not. That's a fucking gangster movie.
This is a gangster movie.
That's a straight up gangster movie.
Yeah.
Just they got cowboy hats on instead of fucking."
You know what? You're totally right about that. Yeah. I never thought about it like
Yep,
that.
that's a straight up gangster movie. The cowboys
Yeah.
and the Earps.
Yeah. The Earps. Yeah.
Okay. Did you see Wyatt Earp with Kevin Costner?
You know what? That's another one I never saw.
That's good. I'm a Kevin Costner fan though.
Yeah. Kevin Costner, I have I think some things he's really good in, other things I think he's terrible in. I'll tell you though, I loved No Way Out. That was like, that film is freaking.
Did you see
fantastic.
Mr. Brookstone or Brook
No.
something?
I did
He
not.
plays a serial killer.
Good?
Yeah, good.
Good.
But
I remember seeing it. I'm like, wow, he's playing actually a real bad guy like that. Like,
somebody told me one time, Kevin Costner is good when he's playing Kevin Costner. And I was like, that actually makes sense. But
that is funny.
Since we're talking about him, Yellowstone,
didn't see that either.
it's out right now. It's a TV show.
Okay.
Last season, and then the new season comes out this weekend.
Yeah.
Dude, in your profession, the fucking production value is phenomenal.
It's phenomenal. I'll have to check that out. Yellowstone.
There was no expense spared filming this fucking show, dude.
I'll write that down.
And then when they want to like show emotion,
Right.
the way they focus in and out and like rack focus and show like little detail, it's fucking amazing. And the
Nice.
dialogue, it's pretty dark though.
Okay.
I mean, it's
That's fine. I don't mind that.
a guy's got he plays the fucking power guy,
Right.
but he's got a ranch the size of Rhode Island and Wyoming,
Wow.
and of course he's fighting some landowner comes or some developer
Somebody.
comes in and wants some of his land. He's like, fuck you, and that's how it all goes.
Right.
But
and then
escalates from
chaos
that.
ensues.
Speaking of production value, you see Billions.
You know, another show that's on my list. The guy I do the podcast with, Victor, he loves Billions.
Dude, I think you would be all over that.
It's one of my wife and I keep saying we want to watch it. It's in our queue. We just got to start watching it.
Yep. Those are Yellowstone and Billions. We'd like make time to watch.
Yeah.
Obviously Game of Thrones, but
Right, yeah. But it's over now. So.
yeah, it's over now. So we're gonna watch
Yeah.
something else. But going back to Young Guns, that cast was fucking
Yeah.
crazy at the time.
you got Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez,
Yes.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Well, even the guy that taught him, the old
Diamond
guy,
Phillips.
the old guy that taught him.
Yeah.
I like that guy.
That's the guy who played Zod in
that's right, he
Superman
did.
2.
Yep.
And that would be
He's been in a bunch of stuff.
yeah. That is, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name.
It was because since you're looking, we'll bring something up and you look it up.
Oh, Terrence Stamp. Duh. Yeah.
He's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
When my wife and I were part of our honeymoon, we took the Queen Mary 2 from England back to New York. Mm-hmm. The way the Titanic came.
Right.
What was fun was we would meet people at the bar, at dinner, whatever, and we get talking like we are. There's no fucking cell service. So next thing you know, you can't look up like we did. We're like, what about this guy? So it ends up being a 45-minute conversation on that one little tiny topic.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's just so
I love that. I do that all the time.
So amazing.
Yeah.
So
Victor and I do this on the podcast all the time because we'll be talking and we're like, we always say we must be the only two guys that do a nerd podcast that can't remember anybody's names. We're always like the guy that did this. And then I'm like, hold on to IMDb or like whatever.
Do you, so on Amazon, do you see that X-ray?
Yes.
Is that cool as shit?
I like the X-ray. I think
do
that's
too.
really cool.
Because you're like, man, I know this guy. What else did he play?
Especially
like, boop, boop, boop.
especially when you watch something and then you go back and you rewatch it with that and then you're like, oh, yeah.
Yep. And one of the best features ever is skip intro and skip
the best
recap.
It's the best.
Awesome.
Especially when you're, it's good when you haven't watched something in a while. You go, oh, I'm going to watch the recap real quick just to get back in. But like when you're binging, boom.
Such amazing. Netflix does it too.
Yeah, I have no patience. No, just get me into the show. Just get me into the show.
Next episode. So you don't watch, what are you watching now though?
So what I'm watching now is, we just started watching Jessica Jones season 3. Hated season 2.
They canceled it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the last of the Marvel Netflix shows to come out. So, we're like, we just got to finish the series. We just got to finish it all. Yep. So, we'll see what happens. We're 2 episodes in, maybe 3 episodes. I fell asleep during episode 3, but watching a new show that just started on AMC, which is super cool, called Nosferatu, and it's spelled out like NOS, the number 4.
What's that about?
TU Nosferatu. So it's a book written back in 2013, I think, by Stephen King's son, Joe Hill. He goes by the name Joe Hill.
Is that a vampire movie?
It is a vampire, but he's not a blood-sucking vampire. He's like an energy vampire. So the premise is that his name is Joe Minx. I think it's Joe Minx. And he is like an energy vampire who abducts children and brings them to Christmas Land, where he like basically leaves them in Christmas Land. And in Christmas Land, like you're not allowed to ever be sad, and every day is Christmas.
And he lives off that energy?
Yeah, so basically on the way there, he sucks the energy out of them and turns them into like these little creatures and then leaves them in Christmas Land. So that's one part. But then the other story is that there's this woman, this girl, she's a teenager when the story starts, and her name is something McQueen, Vic McQueen. And she has the ability to find anything at all, anything that's missing. And she drives her motorcycle through a wooden bridge and it instantly transports it to where that missing object is.
God damn.
Yeah.
That'd be handy.
So the two of them, have some sort of so it's only 2 episodes in, but the two of them, they have some sort of a connection. And she doesn't know about him, but he's trying to now find her because he like senses her and he's got this like magical map and so,
the energy from her probably would be amazing or something, right?
Yeah, so so that's where it's at. Like I didn't read the book, and now I'm like, man, I really want to read the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw a poster. We were in the city walking around not too long ago, and there was like a advertisement for it, and I looked at it, I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it does well because so far my wife and I are like really into it. I mean, we're like, okay, it's gotten past 2 episodes, see if it makes the 3 episodes, but I already like into it. So I recommend that. So we're watching that, and we just got done watching Dead to Me on Netflix too.
Was that pretty good?
It was so good.
Was it?
It was so good.
I've heard
Christina Applegate's fantastic.
I like her.
What's her name from Freaks and Geeks? She's in it too.
How many seasons is that?
That's just 1, and it's 10 episodes.
What was the one we were just watching? We had got to the end of.
Linda Cardellini, and James Marsden's in it too.
I've heard multiple people say that was good.
It's so good.
We just got done watching Bosch.
Oh, that's another one I heard is good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the books.
Right, because those are books based on how many books are there? There's like a series.
There's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah,
I've read a couple of them.
Detective,
yeah,
story.
And the guy Titus, I think his name Titus, he does the audiobooks. Mm-hmm. But that's one TV show. I'm so fucking glad of the skip intro.
Right. Oh yeah.
Oh, it's crazy stupid. I'm not a fan of that, and it's really long.
There's a show that does it great with the intro. Barry on HBO. I don't know if you've watched Barry.
No.
Barry's fantastic. You would like it. So Barry, it's on HBO. Just finished the 3rd season. The seasons are short, and Barry it just starts, and it's always like and it just cuts off and goes. But he,
Oh, the intro is just super
right.
short.
Yeah, it's like, and it always cuts off. But
Billions is like that. It shows a stock image of
like,
Manhattan, and it just says boom, billions, and then it starts.
yeah, it just
I was
Barry
this is
really
amazing.
big and it just goes.
Yeah, I'm like, I like this.
So Barry is a show. James Hader's in it, who's the comic
Yep,
from Saturday
yep,
Night Live.
yep.
So he's in it, and he basically plays a hitman who wants to give up the life and become an actor, a professional actor.
What a great plot.
And so he moves to L.A. because he goes to L.A. for a hit, but he's like, I want to be an actor, and he moves to L.A. and he gives up the life. But he keeps getting sucked back into it, and he keeps wanting to. So
it's pretty good.
It's
How many
amazing. Henry
seasons?
Winkler's in it. He's brilliant. 3.
Three?
And they're short. I think they're only like 8-10 episodes long. Half-hour show. It's on HBO. Fantastic show.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's really
Barry.
good. You'll love it. You'll love it.
Speaking of Hitmen, the classic movie Grosse Point Blank.
It's the same kind of a premise, kind of a thing. Like, yeah,
Is that what it is?
it's sort of. It reminds you of Grosse Point Blank.
What a great movie that was.
I love that
Oh.
movie.
Whew. I don't know. Between that and Better Off Dead.
What's great about that movie is it's like the culmination of all those characters, and this is what happened to that. So when you think about Better Off Dead,
Grosse Point.
with Grosse Point Blank though, but it's like all those 80s characters
Yeah.
he played, like Say Anything and all that. It's like if you took that character, this is what
That's Barry.
this is what he became. No, in Grosse Point Blank. So it's like John Cusack would say this, like, so that's like the culmination of all his 80s characters.
And that's
it's
where he
like,
ended up.
And that character graduated.
Yeah.
Went to the army.
Yeah. And that's a good way to look at it.
That's how he said, like, it's like the send off of like that character.
Oh, that was such a good movie.
Yeah.
I like those classics.
Yeah, Jeremy
man.
Piven's awesome in that.
Oh my God, so fun. I appreciate you coming over, dude. We covered a lot of shit.
I know, we're all over the place. I
Holy
apologize
cow.
to everybody who listened, man. You must be like, what? We're talking about Star Wars, and we're talking about
Yeah, but that's
Tombstone. Then we're
Yeah, but that's the fun part of it.
I know. We're talking about podcasts. No, it was great, man. This is a ton of fun. I'll do this anytime.
Yeah.
There's
And,
so many stories.
Oh, we could go on. And
I know.
on
We could go.
forever, but-
That's why I said when you brought up Star Wars, we could have just ripped on that
but
forever.
I don't want to make a 2-hour episode out of Star Wars.
know.
Well, you could.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't mind, would you?
Not at all.
I don't know enough about it, so
Yeah,
it'd
it's
be
all
me
right.
here going,
Yeah. Well, if anybody wants to talk about Star Wars, you could just find me or join
Yeah,
Galaxy
yeah.
of Geeks.
Yeah.
you can
Well,
join
I'll
that
put
group.
I'll put the link and stuff in the show notes
Yeah,
so people
cool.
can.
Yeah.
Hey,
right.
back
Thanks for
and
listening,
forth, so.
and hope you enjoyed
On to the
this
next
as
thing.
much as I
Thanks,
did.
bro.
Thank you.
Don't forget, jump on Galaxy of the Geeks. You can get to it in the show notes. If you want to get a little deeper into those subjects with Chris, always thanks for listening and the support. Looking for conversation? Come on, let me know. Everybody is extraordinary. Much love.